So, I'm always very curious about how people put together their videos for their YouTube. I have my method, but I know my method is not the only method and is far from the best method. And it all depends on the equipment that you have and what you don't have. So, I thought I'd show you, first of all, what I use to put my videos together, show you how I plan for my videos, and show you how it all comes together at the end. Now, a word of caution for those of you that are really into editing videos and making videos. I am not doing it the way you would probably do it, and you will laugh at me because my equipment is not that sophisticated and my methodology is not that sophisticated. So, having said that, I'm going to start by telling you what I am using right now when you see me like this. I'm using a program, a free program on my Mac called OBS. It's also available for the PC, and I used to use it on my PC when I used my PC computer for this. Um, it's got a bit of a learning curve to it, but it's fairly effective. And it's also the program that I use to do live streaming as well. And that's a topic for another day because that's a little bit more complicated than what I'm going to discuss today. So yeah, so this is the software I use on my Mac. As far as my main camera is concerned, what you are seeing right now, it's the built-in camera to my MacBook Pro. It's a really great camera. I used to use a webcam, a Logitech one, which was a very good one as well, but it was only about a 720p in resolution. This one's 1080p. Also, there's technology in a Mac computer that enhances the videos as well. So I'm very pleased with this camera in the Mac. And I've had a few of you comment on that as well and tell me how you thought that the videos were a little clearer, which makes me very happy. Now, I do have the ability to switch cameras. And now I'm going to let you in on a little secret. This part that I am videoing right now is my second try. My first try, I was working along very nicely with it, and then I discovered that my microphone was not on, so you couldn't hear a word that was coming out of my mouth. As I was doing that first round of shots, I was also using my uh, iPhone as well. It's one of my pieces of my equipment, and both at the same time. So I'm not really sure how this is going to work out when I edit it, but I guess that point is moot now because when you see this, I will have figured out that problem. But just thought I'd let you know that's how unsophisticated I am on my equipment. But in the next segment, I'll be talking about all of my equipment and how it all goes. It's in here, and I'm going to record. Now I'm recording on two devices right now. You can see my little camera is on in the laptop. That's all I use for these full facial ones that you see every week. I used to use a webcam, a 920 Logitech webcam, which was pretty good, but the quality wasn't as high as the quality is on this camera on the Mac, which I really like. So that's what I do when I'm doing these kind of shots. Now I am using my phone right now as well, and I'll probably cut over to the phone in a couple of seconds. I need to do that through my editing software though. It would be nice if I could switch between the computer and this. I can't. There are programs you can get. There's one called Switcher or something like that that works with iOS devices as a switching device, but you have to pay a monthly subscription for it. And the other reason why I don't upgrade to the highest end equipment is cost. And I resent paying anything that's a subscription for something that really I'm not going to use every day of the week. So, okay, so the other thing I want to show you is this little box. Speaking of switchers, this is one of the best things I ever invested in. This allows me, this Stream Deck, to switch around between my various cameras. I'm going to show you my various cameras in just a second. Well, for example, when I want to switch over to my screen, I just hit the one I call screen, and there you go. And what that's doing is it's going up to this second monitor I have here, which is a much bigger monitor, and whatever's up there is now in my editing software, my recording software. And I'm going to talk about the recording software in a minute as well. And I can switch us back here. See if I can get the 2 in the shot. There we go. And I can switch it to other cameras. I can switch to my overhead camera. This is the one that I use a lot when I'm on Zoom, and I'll show you. There's the camera right there. Those are lights. Actually, I don't have my lights turned on. I probably should turn my lights on. So I just have, there we go, blind you. And there's one over here. Very sophisticated system, can't you tell? And these are lights that I bought from Amazon. And Amazon, let me switch here. And they were not that expensive, but they do give me a little better lighting in this situation. So I was showing you that camera that was over there. And that's the one that when I push the button here, switches me over to this view. So you can see when I sit behind my sewing machine, people can see me there. Or if I'm doing something on the table. Now I have another camera that I seldom use, and I don't know if I can switch over to it. Oh yes, here it is. It's one I call above. And now you get an above view, and that camera is way up there. You probably can't see it. That little blue glow on that, that's my overhead shot. That's what you're seeing here. Now my idea for that was if I was doing demos, you'd see it better, but that camera doesn't have a really good focus for getting up close, so I don't use it very often. So let me go back to me. There I am, right there. And what about sound? Well, primarily I use my Yeti, and that's this big microphone right here that sits off to the side. This is what we use when we do Stephen and Walter Live and So Chatty, and I use for my Idiot Quilter episodes and for my vlogs as well. It's a great microphone. I think it cost me a little over $100 for it. Actually, I have 2 of them, and I'll show you where the other one is in a moment. But when I'm sitting here in front of this computer, that's the microphone I primarily use. Now, if I'm using my phone, as I am right now, I'm doing 2 things here at once. I'll use the microphone built into the phone, but as I said, it isn't as good a quality as something like the Yeti. So that takes me to some of the technical stuff. Now let me go and show you some other things. Well, over on this side, there's another computer. It's a PC, not a Mac, and there's a big screen up here. Now originally that big screen is hooked into our television system. So my idea was when I used to do paper crafting in this room, before I switched over to the sewing room, I would use this system here to watch my YouTube videos or whatever. And that's pretty much what I use it for now, except when I do Zooms. When I do Zooms, if you've noticed, if you've been on a craft and chat, for example, or a pop-up sew day, you will notice that up in the top left corner of the Zoom screen, you will see my little logo. Up there. It says, you know, welcome to Craft and Chat or Pop-Up Sew Day, whatever. Well, this computer controls that, because with Zoom, you can only be on Zoom with one device, like at a time. I can't, well, if you can, I don't know how to do it. I can't have it pick up 2 cameras at once. So basically, I put that other one up and I freeze it in spot. I freeze it in place on the screen so it's always there so people know what they've come into. And also when I'm sitting down at my sewing machine, I can look up there as well as on my big screen over here and see everything that is happening as well. So that's another part of my technology. Now, let's look at something else that I use. You know I'm using my iPhone right now. And I want to show you my setup for my sewing machine. So I have a couple of things here. Just go around this way so you can see. I have another iPad right here. This is an older iPad. I don't use this one a lot for making my videos, but sometimes I need to focus it on my table. And I told you I had that overhead camera, but it doesn't focus very well on the table if I want to demo something. So this one I have on this tricky little device. You can see this, and it is very bendable. So when I want to show what I'm doing on my cutting table, I just bend that over. Usually have it a little bit straighter than this, and I will record whatever I'm doing on that machine. Now, how do I put all these pieces together? Because it seems like I'm using a lot of equipment. I am. I'll show you that in a moment. I also have another one of these, and these are great. These articulated holders. You can see they're quite big, and I have two of them. And I think they were only about $35 on Amazon. I can't remember what they were called, but I think they're still available. But you have different holders. You can see this one for the iPad's a little bigger, and they're expandable. This one's meant for the iPhone. So I can put my iPhone right into this. And again, I can bend it wherever I want. Most of the time I use this for close-ups if I need to show something on the sewing machine. Fits right in there very nicely. So that's a couple of more little devices I have for making my videos. Another one I have is my other iPad. Now this is my newest iPad. It is the 11-inch newest one. It's not the 12-inch, but it's big enough for me. And I have this little stand it sits on. Again, I got this from Amazon. Great little stand. It's very adjustable. It sits there. Now, usually it sits over there next to my computer. But when I want to show stuff, especially if I want to show stuff on my embroidery machine, I can just turn this around and situate it. And it's just the right height that I can get in close and personal with the needle on my embroidery machine with this. Also, I can switch it around this way and get a different angle on my cutting table. Now, ideally, I would have liked a camera, and I tried to do this, that sits up on these shelves here over my shoulder. But the biggest problem with this was, one, I had to run, this was not wireless. I suppose I could get another one of these, and I could hook it in and clamp it down up there as well. But the other problem I have is the lighting. These are lights, they're not on right now for a good reason. If I turn those lights on while I am videoing on my computer over there, then those are in the background and they're kind of annoying, I think. So I don't put those on. So these are all bits and pieces, but wait, there is more. Let's go on a little trip, shall we? Oh yes, there's another computer here which has, I don't do any kind of recording on it. I used to. This is the computer where I used to make my videos. It used to sit where the Mac is now. But I used a webcam for it. And as I said, the camera that's built into the Mac is much better camera. So this one sits over here, and this is a PC, so it's for things that I'd rather do on my PC than on my Mac, which isn't much. So let's go in here. It's a little dark, I'm sorry. I will turn on the lights. Just give me a second. This is Lucy room, the Lucy room. So you can see, and you've seen this before, this is my Lucy. This is the Quilt Path system, which again is another computer as well. But if you look up here in the ceiling, there's a camera. I mounted this camera, and it runs, this wire runs all the way out and through the wall on that side over to that computer I showed you that's attached to the TV set. That's where I can operate or run this camera. So that means a different computer is recording on it. Now, my idea of putting this camera in was that you could see what I was doing on Lucy overhead. However, that doesn't work out very well. Again, it's because of this type of camera. I can't focus very well, and so you can't really see. You can see the quilt, you can see Lucy, but you can't really see the stitching. So I'm looking for other ideas for that. Ideally, I would like a camera that I could actually mount, that's wireless, that has, you know, the ability to be recharged, so I don't have to have it plugged in, and that I could mount it somewhere here on underneath Lucy, so right by the needle area, so you could see the actual stitches going into the quilt. And there are things I can get for that. I just have to do some more research on that. Now, there is another camera in here. Yes, this house is full of cameras. There is this camera. Now, I used to use this when this room used to be my sewing dungeon. I had this one mounted on, you guessed it, another TV screen over here. I had everything wired in here so that I could see things on that TV screen as I was recording them, or if I was doing a Zoom, that kind of thing. But now, of course, I don't use this at all. In fact, just this morning, I disconnected all the wires to that TV set because I'm not using it, and they were in my way because as you know from another video that I'm showing, that I showed you today, I reorganized how I store my quilts in this room. But I digress. So back to here. So this camera also is wired to go through the wall to the other side to that other computer that I was just talking about. And there's another Yeti microphone. And that was the microphone system in here as well. However, I don't really use this system. I thought I would when I got Lucy, but for the reasons I've already stated, it just doesn't work out that well. So there they sit for now, doing nothing. So let's go back into the other room, and I will show you how I put all these things together. So before I show you how I put all of the bits and pieces together for the final video, I thought I'd talk a little bit about how I plan. I don't. Well, that's not true. I do plan. Let me move my microphone a little closer here, shall I? So what do I do? Well, I have a program that came with Microsoft Windows. I've used it quite a bit. Actually, Microsoft Word program. It's called OneNote. And I really like it. I'm going to show you what that looks like here. I'm going to use my little switcher box. Bingo. There it is. This is where I keep track of all my notes. I keep a track of a lot of things, and I really love this program for that. Although there are a few quirks to it that make it maybe not the best thing in the world to use, but I really like it a lot. So in here, you can see I've got vlog notes, Idiot Quilter. I have other ones of my productions. And what I do as the week goes on is I build this script. And I have my segments. Those are the ones highlighted in yellow. Anything I want to insert, I highlight in red. And I just brainstorm or add things as the week goes on. I usually prepare a week in advance for each one of my videos. On Mondays, I upload my vlog. On Tuesdays, I upload the Idiot Quilter episode, and if I happen to have an Idiot Quilter Presents, I will upload that then as well, and maybe even a demo, depending on what I've made that week. On Fridays, Walter and I record So Chatty, and then that gets uploaded. And on Sunday afternoons, we do our live, and that's automatically uploaded to YouTube when the live is done for rebroadcast. So yeah, I have a very busy schedule, and so this helps me plan for when I'm going to do all of these things. It also helps me keep my video clips organized as well. So I really like this program, OneNote, for this, and it automatically backs it up to the cloud too. So just in case my computer crashed, I wouldn't lose all of my notes. And yeah, that's basically all the planning I do. I do not write scripts at all. Maybe I should, but my style is to be very conversational. And many of you have told me how much you appreciate that style, and I'm very happy about that. But I also do it out of laziness. I don't want to have to do a lot of editing. Even today, this video I'm making right now, I've got to do a little bit of editing, and I'm trying to do as little as possible of that. So that's the planning procedure. And as I said, I do these in a week in advance. Well, it's not a week in advance as in it's all done, ready in the can for uploading 1 week before I actually upload it. It means that I add to it as the week goes on. I have this as a basic outline, and as things happen during the week or as I get ideas, I will start to add to it. So yes, there is planning, no real scripting, but yes, definitely a plan. And by the way, you're looking at next week's Idiot Quilter episode. So I'm going to switch back to me. Don't want to spoil the surprise, do I? Okay, so that's my planning process. That's all there is really to that. So now, how do I take all of these pieces and put them together? Well, I saved each of the, you saw the little red notes at insert video here. kind of thing. So there are bits and pieces that I record during the week, and now I have to assemble it all. And the way that I assemble it is using a program called Final Cut Pro. And I'm just going to switch over to that so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is Final Cut Pro, as you can see, and I'm showing you what the screen actually looks like. When I get all the bits and pieces, I load them into this program, and this is where I can put them in sequence. I can add my transitions, I can adjust my volume, and I can, if I wanted to, I could put in some special effects. I don't usually do that much because that's just more editing, but this is how I do it. And so right now you are seeing the video that I just took up in the editing screen for me to play around with. So this is a fairly sophisticated program. It does a whole heck of a lot of things more than I'm using it for right now. I'm slowly learning it bit by bit. One of the features I really like is, and you can probably see it up here, is voice isolation. I've been using that a lot lately. Oops. Okay. Yeah, you can see how, oh, that's fun, isn't it? Watch this. Okay. Make you a little sick, doesn't it? With it. And of course, if I want to check my video, I can do this.
A subscription for something that really I'm not going to use every day.
You get the idea. But that's what it looks like. Anyways, back to this voice isolation. I often have my 3D printers running in the background, and they do give off a fair amount of noise. And in my earlier videos, before I started using Final Cut Pro, you probably heard those printers working in the background. Well, now you don't, because by hitting voice isolation in this program, it only focuses on my voice and not on any of the background noises, which I really think that's a great feature when I discovered that. But there's other things I could do as well. I can alter my voice quality. There's an equalizer on it. I haven't played with that much. And I can add titles. I can do special wipes, special effects, all kinds of things. All of those things you could go down a rabbit's hole using. I choose to be very simplistic in my editing, simply because that eats into my sewing time, right? So that's the program that I use. Now, this is not a freebie program. It's an expensive program. I think it cost me about $400 for this one, but I figured it was worth the investment since I was getting a MacBook Pro. I bought it at the program at the same time as the MacBook Pro. And, you know, I was already dropping like 7,000 on this computer. What was another 400? Might as well have the best of everything, because I don't intend to be replacing this computer anytime soon. Okay, so that's how I put everything together. And you see the end result. Now I add to that my little beginning part, my little trailer at the beginning and my little trailer at the end. I do that again through Final Cut Pro. I just drop it into the beginning at the end. Those are pre-made and they're standardized. And then what happens with all of that? Well, then it has to be compiled, put into a format that YouTube can accept. And that takes a little bit of time. And when I used to do that on my Windows computers, my PC computer, that used to take a long, long time. In fact, I used to edit my videos using my iPad. And it was a roundabout way to do it because I liked iMovie, but iMovie is nowhere near as sophisticated as Final Cut Pro. And it worked okay, but I had to compile it on the iPad, which took an hour video would probably take 40 minutes, 30 minutes to compile. And then I'd have to copy it over to my main computer to get it ready to upload to YouTube. Now, speaking of copying things over to the main computer, you're probably wondering how I do that. Well, I have a little program that sits on my computer that is called PhotoSync. It's a free program. It's an app. You can download it to your phone. You can download it to your Mac. You can download it to your PC. It works on all of those platforms and your iPad as well. And what it allows you to do is through your network, your home Wi-Fi network, it allows you to transfer movies or pictures very quickly from one device to the next device. It's a really great program. I use it all the time. So that's called PhotoSync. Look for it in the App Store. It's free, as I said, very easy to use. So that's how I get all the bits and pieces onto one computer for the editing process. So then after everything's been done, it's all ready to go. How do I get it on YouTube? Well, let me switch my screens here. So I've gone on to YouTube, and this is just the standard screen that most people see. But up in the corner here, you'll see a little plus sign with a camera. And if you click on that, this gives you 3 different things that you can do. You can upload a video, which is what I want to do, or you can go live. This is part of the process I use to do our live videos on Sunday afternoons. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. And then create a post, which I've actually never really used at all. So all you do is I click on upload video, and this screen comes up and it says select files. So you locate the files you want to upload on your computer, and you can drag and drop them or just go into your directory system and open them, and away it goes. Now from there, you'll get other screens, and I really can't show you those other screens at the moment. Yes, I can. I just thought of a way I can do that. So just bear with me for a second. So I get into a screen like this, and it asks me for certain details. It asks me to give a title to my video. It asks me to copy in my resources. These I have already in my OneNote outline, so I just cut and paste those in. Let's go down here a little further. YouTube actually creates the thumbnail for my video. So you may wonder why some of my thumbnails, like this one, are a little goofy. Don't ask me how YouTube selects them, but it usually finds the goofiest looking picture for my thumbnail. Now, I can upload a thumbnail if I wish. As you see here, there's a selection for doing that, but usually I just go with whatever the algorithm in YouTube says. I then have the ability to put it into one of my playlists. And then it asks me these questions about audience. And this is something YouTube put in place about 2 years ago, because I guess there were some problems with videos going up that were showing kids, and there were, well, quite frankly, perverts out there that were stealing those pictures and doing things with them. So they have a policy now where you don't, if you have a video that's not really suitable for children, your language, whatever, like the content, then you can say, no, it's not made for kids. And I say that on all my videos. It's not that most of my stuff is pretty much PG, but just to be on the safe side. And then you can also go in, and there's an additional menu here where you can say whether you have paid promotion. I don't, but this is where I can put in all my tags. And these are things, keywords that people can search by to find my videos. And after I've done all of that, it asks me some in the next screens if I want to monetize it, if it's going to be visible publicly. It gives me a link to it. These are the links you see that I embed into my show notes for other videos, and the end screen and subtitles, other editing features. So you can do a little bit of editing in YouTube, but it's somewhat limited. So after you've done all of that, it uploads it to YouTube, and that takes a while. It used to be a little faster than it is now. I don't know if it's my internet connection. I'm hoping not, because I have a very expensive and high-speed internet connection, and I'm watching that carefully, because if my provider is doing something that's choking me, I'm going to start choking them. But that's a topic for another day. Then it processes it. Now, the processing can take some time. And I don't know, but sometimes you might actually go on and not see the end section because you got onto it before it was completely processed for some reason. I don't know if that happens or not. I'm not sure. But anyways, that's the whole process I go through for putting together a video. So I hope you didn't go to sleep during this. I hope you found it interesting. And so now you know. This could become a full-time job if you wanted it to be, but I choose not. I have things fairly well streamlined. It works for me. As I said, maybe not the most professional way of doing things, but it's working. So Thanks for watching this demo today. And we'll see you soon on another video for sure.